conclusion of the matter. Something is coming in the next 2 weeks. This is a very deliberate, pointed warning that you all and our beloved online church family must prepare for. Something's coming. There's things happening in the earth sciences stuff that is devastate the United States of America in particular. That's what the modeling shows. That's what the science shows. That's what the meteorology shows. That's what everybody shows. And I'm giving you a 2-week heads up to do whatever it takes to prepare. Long-term power outages, no water, poison water, frozen pipes. There is nothing worse than an inland hurricane in the middle of wintertime. That's what's coming. The models are showing things that they can't even comprehend of. They have no basis. They have shattered the models. Now, could it change? Sure, it could change. Okay? And if it changes, well, so what? It was a good practice run. And you prepared accordingly. You need to prepare to be able to heat yourselves where there is no heat or power for extended periods of times, to have potable water that you can drink for an extended period of times, because you can't expect to turn on the faucet, so that means you need to pre-stock water. You need to be able to heat yourself and understand how to heat yourself. You need to be able to understand what happens to a vehicle in extreme temperatures. Think the movie Day After Tomorrow or the movie Geostorm. Like a altered atmospheric thing is coming. All the models are showing it. That is going to drop on the continental United States, in particular the Tennessee River Valley, which is interesting because they just got hit by Helene. There must be something very, very particular that they want. Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, Alabama, that area, but it's going to affect the whole region. Temperatures that they say they can't even comprehend, and it is going to obliterate the power grid, potable water systems, and travel and communications for extended periods of time. Coming from law enforcement and fire EMS background, where we're always the guys that are out working in these horrible bomb cyclone things or whatever, we're always out there. I'm telling you, it is a nightmare. There is nothing worse than a superstorm in the middle of cold, bringing in more cold. There's nothing you can do against it. Everything ceases to function, and it's obliterated for days and days on end. Doesn't matter how deep your pipes are. Texas, everybody saw what happened in Texas, right? You guys know that Texas was 12 hours from a grid collapse. Go read they were like, this is it. Like, and if the Texas grid goes down, because it's its own independent grid, it would cascade collapse the other 2 and 3 grids. We were 12 hours from the entire blackout scenario that every DoD official has been warning about forever, because of a cold front hitting Texas that isn't supposed to have weather that cold. And all the pipes that break, and all the people turning on electric heaters, and it cascade collapse everything. So, I'm telling you, if you need firewood, drop money on firewood. If you need heating sources, drop money on heating sources. You need a tent so you can set up a tent inside your house. By the way, that's a great way to keep warm, is to sleep inside a tent in your house. We've done it. Put it right in front of the fireplace, open the flap. Even without a fireplace, it will retain all your body heat. Water, ability to move water. Your vehicles won't start. They have cold crank amps. The cold is going to exceed the cold crank amps. If you need jumper cables or power generator, whatever you need. And also be aware too, this is just basic knowledge I want to share with you guys. Be very cautious of suffocating yourselves when you're using alternative heat sources. I have found bodies in cars, young men, because they wanted to stay warm in the garage when the power was down. And then I show up with 2 dead 20-year-olds in the front seat of a truck with the motor still running, because they don't understand. They don't understand carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide and airflow stuff. Be aware of these things as you prepare on this level. And to the widows and the widowers and the elderly and the infirm, this is why I preach that you must have a body. You can't do it on your own. You have to have a body of believers around you. You can't sit in isolation watching podcasts and broadcasts without a body. It is completely offensive and antagonistic to the Gospels. Do not forsake the gathering together and encouraging one another even more so. You must have a body. You can't do it on your own. To you all, or to our online church family, if you know widows or widowers or the elderly and infirm or the single moms, then you better be pursuing them in the next 2 weeks to build a relationship, to build a network, to adequately be able to prepare and take care of one another when the time comes. Everybody tracking? This is just a start. Isn't it interesting that within the first 10 days of 2025, this thing's coming? It's the end of the age of grace. It's just the start. It's just the start. We must do it God's way to right now. So, that is a very distinct warning, apart from what I won't tell you today about the fifth column forces embedded all over the United States and what they're getting ready to do very soon. Okay? Very soon. So, that's a wrap.